Hi, this is Bob Savar from Pickleball Teachers Network at pickleballteachers.com, and I'm here with Prem, known as the Pickleball Guru, and I was just at a clinic here this morning with Prem. I got to tell you, it's amazing. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Okay?
Absolutely.
So everybody, how long have you been playing pickleball?
I've been playing around about for 14 years now.
14 years.
Yes.
I have not met anyone who's played that long.
There's a lot more people who have played for 30 or 40 years.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, most of the teachers I come across have played with 2, 3, 4 years. How did you get started at pickleball?
I moved to Washington State, and I lived in Seattle, and then in the community where I lived had pickleball courts, and I got introduced to the game there, and that's how I started playing pickleball as recreationally, and then heard there was some competition, national championship, which happened in 2009, and
Okay.
I started getting introduced to the game there, and then rest is history. I've been loving the game since.
How long have you actually been teaching?
It's been 8 years now. I've
8
been
years?
teaching a full-time teaching professional. I've been doing it for 8 years now.
Are most of your is most of your teaching clinics or one-on-ones or?
Most of my teachings are mostly clinics and boot camps, sometimes workshops.
Okay.
I do very little of one-on-ones these days, just because my schedule is very packed, and one-on-ones just take a lot of time out of my schedule. So I do mostly clinics, boot camps, and workshops.
Okay, so today was a clinic that I was just in.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about how you run the clinics. And we're in, by the way, we're in Vero Beach today. Where are you going next?
Next is Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Okay. So what does a clinic look like?
A clinic is a little bit different. It's generally for a beginner, intermediate group, and it's generally a decent-sized group between maximum of 48 people. Now, if I have 48 people, I do have people who assist me in managing the group. We go through mostly the fundamentals of the game and really reinforcing the ideas and the concepts behind why a certain number of things are done in each way, starting from the serve to the return of serve to the drop shot to the dinks, the volleys, the putaways, and just how you construct a point. So it's basically for as far as 3.5 players. Lower end of the 3.5 players can get a lot of information about it, just getting their consistency on the fundamentals. So the clinics is basically a 2-day event.
Right.
There's about 2.5 hours each day, and then we work through 3 drills every day, and then in the end we sort of try to put those all together and see how they fare with that. And generally it's a very big successful event, especially for the beginner intermediate group. So that's I've been doing it for a very long time, actually. So clinics, and our recent addition for the past 4 years has been the boot camps.
Okay. Well, let me say a word about the clinics. I could see today that after 2.5, 3 hours, people were actually getting much, much better. So where till I go out on the court, but I can tell you the clinics are terrific. And now the boot camp, what is that like?
Thank you, Bob. As far as the boot camp is a much more intensive program. It goes through normally a longer weekend. It starts off on a Friday and goes all the way down to Monday morning session. It's there's 15 hours of sessions and
Wow.
more, and it's every day there's a morning and an afternoon session. It's a very small group. It's only limited to 8 people, and it's generally 3.5 and over players, and we work really intensively through every day. The first session on the first day is called the evaluation session, just because I want to know where the players are and what their capacities are, so I just get an assessment of their game so that I can really match up, because it's a small group, to match up exactly where each group would be.
Okay.
Ideally. And the second session on the first day is called Drop Till You Drop. It's basically a session.
I know what that is.
Yes. It's all about drop shots, dropping it from every part of the court and knowing how to play the drop shots on those one. And then the second morning, the third session is called Being a Shark at the Net. And it's all about net play, knowing how to dink a good ideal dink, a good attacking ball, all about volleys and putaways, and we'll learn a lot about that one on net play. And the afternoon session is called Building Consistency, which is the fourth session on the second day, and that session is all about trying to build consistency in every stroke. And most importantly, we bring out the wonderful ball machine out there, and we'll zip in like 100 miles an hour balls at the players and have them block balls called the block volleys, making sure that they're able to block, because most of the problems most of the players have generally tend to be that they struggle with those hard balls coming at their body.
Right.
So we teach them how to actually block it, and it's amazing actually. In this same venue last year, I had an 89-year-old gentleman who had come down to the boot camp and did that particular exercise, and after the match was the training was over, he had gone to a tournament, and he had to play in the 70 plus because there was no one in his age category, and they were just hitting really hard balls at him.
Right.
And he blocked everything, and then he actually called me because he won the tournament, and he said to me, they kept on hitting to me, and I was able to block every ball, and we ended up winning it. And in his simplistic words, he said, "Bring it on, baby." I really love that one. So that is the fourth session.
Okay.
And that's on the second day, afternoon session. And then on the third day, one of the favorite sessions for most of the players by the time that comes over, it's called Dancing with Your Partner.
Okay.
It's all about partner play, partner communication, placement, and positioning. And we learn all the strategies around it, and they play and drill a lot around that particular strategy. And there's a lot of segments inside that particular session, that afternoon session. And the final session on the third day, the sixth session, is called Bring It Home, Baby. It's basically an individualized session, so all the 8 players get to spend a large chunk of time with me, where I'm going to hone on what I really see they need to work on when they go home, and I give them a particular homework on what I want them to do, so that they specifically want to work on that particular thing. And I keep track of most of my players, and I actually do it for multiple months to make sure that if there's anything they need help with, or if any suggestions I could give them, or any other drill I can help them with to give, I will give them, and try to make sure that they get consistent with the stroke which they're struggling with. And I'm very consistent with being behind my players even multiple months after they finish the boot camp. And the final session is on Monday morning. It's a 3-hour session, and that's basically a playtime. So the players are playing each, and they are going to play their regular game,
Right.
incorporating all they have learned. And now I'll do what you call, I'll stop and say why this shot happened, why did this happen, and really comment on it, and ask them their own feedback on how they can rectify it. And if they don't, then I'll help them out, and then they continue playing for 3 hours. So that's a wonderful session.
That's amazing.
And it's a beautiful session. And the boot camps are, people get obviously a wonderful goodie bag with lots of stuff, including my signature paddle and books, and a lot of organic materials inside for sunscreen to lip balm to a lot of other sponsored materials inside it. And but they also, all the lunches are served through their time there, so they don't have to worry about figuring out what they need to eat for the afternoon. Lots of snack, lots of fresh fruits are offered for different people with different dietary conditions. And generally, I've had a really high success rate in terms of satisfaction rate in terms of the people who come for these boot camps. And also they love that it is so individualized to their own needs.
It sounds amazing. One question I like to ask teachers is, let's say you have a 3.0 player